A sex tape bombshell literally inside the British monarchy, and apparently, well, with other people involved too. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums. Lovely to see you today. Thank you so much, as ever, for taking the time out to join me. And welcome back, one and all. And also welcome brand new subscribers. Lovely to have your company. Thank you also for your usual lovely support for By Royal Appointment. Yes, working on the next one now. I know many of you enjoy it. I enjoy making them for you, as I've said. It's great fun, and more importantly, you can tell a bigger length of story, if you get, what it's like. It's all about time, isn't it? That's the thing. Time is so difficult in this climate. Whenever you look round, are you the same? It's suddenly 10 to. Next thing, it's 20 to the next town. You think, what happened there? Yes, I know, I can see you're the same as me. This is the problem, you see. Some people might say the passage of time has not been easy, though, for this particular royal. We're talking, of course, about the former royal known as His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, now utterly disgraced, whichever way you look at it. And, my belief is that there is literally no coming back. The public decide whether you can come back or not, and it's really not about the public in this particular instance. You see, now a lot of people are looking at all sorts of things that have gone on in the past, and a lot of people say to me, oh Neil, you're very sort of all for the monarchy. I tell you exactly what I find out straight down the line. And to give you an example of this, here's the thing that I can recall back from a couple of years back now. A colleague of mine was sort of contacted by the Duke and Duchess of York's office regarding one of Sarah's books, right? And here's the deal. You see, basically, they were, a very reputable journalist. And the bottom line was they wanted some help with promoting Sarah's books, particularly around the world. Now, they thought this was funny because she was signed to a reasonably big literary agency, so you can understand. However, this particular individual, and I have all the documentation, the bottom line was that, well, first and foremost, you had to submit 10 ideas, first and foremost, to how you're going to promote this book. And on top of that, and then only when that had gone through and they liked some of the ideas, you then may get a meeting with the Duchess. Interestingly, my colleague pointed out, okay, so what's the fee? There was no fee, and on top of all of that, there was no expenses either. Now, they were just coming from London, say, to Windsor, but even they were not going to be met. Now, this particular individual, as I say, wielded a lot of power inside the York's household. And it's interesting to know, did they know about this? Or is this somebody playing, the big shot? You know what I'm saying here, chums? And it's interesting because I've seen this many times before. You get a major star coming into the studio. It can be somebody like Dennis Quaid or Mickey Rourke or something like that. And you get a long request for things. And when they turn up, they say, I never asked for anything. No, I'm not, but just water will be fine. So you see what I mean? There's always two sides to every story. I never found out from that particular person whether that would directly came from Sarah or indeed the Duke. But you see how these things elevate themselves. Interesting here though, because this particular story, I would say, well, let me explain what I found out. Of course, this particular book is now circulating around with all of these explosive, allegations regarding Prince Andrew. And we all virtually know most of them if you work inside the industry. He's petulant, he's been, smothered and smothered. He literally has got his own way. And he and his wife, Sarah, definitely love the high life. More importantly, they don't seemingly like to pay for it. But then that's nothing new with aristocrats, royals, and of course people who've enjoyed enormous wealth. That doesn't surprise me. Now, do not forget, of course, that this is Sarah Ferguson, who, if you remember, during the News of the World tenure, was trying to sell access to her husband, right? And Sarah has made a colossal amount of money, but they live in a bubble world. This is the problem, right? This is the bigger issue. So what about the alleged sex tape? Well, here's where this gets interesting, because of course this particular individual can say anything, including the fact that the Kremlin are in receipt of this. Now, here's where I believe that there is two sides to this particular story. If the Kremlin had this sort of information about a senior member of the British monarchy that allegedly could bring the monarchy down, think about this, right? Now we have a Prime Minister over here, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, who's literally taken sides with the Kremlin's rival, Zelensky, President Zelensky, and numerous meetings, numerous fundings. If he had something that was going to discredit and rock the United Kingdom, and he had that particular tape, wouldn't this now be a prime time to do so? You get the picture. right? So that really just doesn't make sense. And you know you can put that out there. And again, I have to say allegedly, but you can put that out there with no recall. These particular individuals say, I have it on good authority. If you have it, you have the information. Even a clip would be worth millions. I mean, literally, a tiny clip in a tabloid newspaper, and any tabloid right now would be willing to open their checkbook. So I believe that that's a little bit rocky, to say the least. I do believe that Prince Andrew is incriminated far deeper with Jeffrey Epstein than, of course, he recalls on the Newsnight interview. Seemingly, of course, because many people know that his wife had a long and enduring friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and allegedly many of her funds were met via him. Make of that what you will. And again, I have to say allegedly, but you get the picture. So behind the scenes, all of this skullduggery scandal and everybody saying this thing, it's really simply to be proven that if this tape existed, and that's the big if, then literally somebody somewhere would have it. And right now, given the terrible rocky relationship that we have with the Kremlin, with Russia, all via Zelensky, Ukraine, etc., now would be the very best time, of course, to expose. And more importantly, don't forget that the late Queen literally paid a substantial amount of money, not 12 million as reported, but a very substantial amount of money in order to make sure that Prince Andrew could step out of royal life and remain literally a closed book. So whichever way you look at it and whatever side you want to take it on, sex tape or not, in my opinion, that's exactly where we're at. And as I said, I've had experience on both sides of the coins. I know exactly how the royal family operate, good and bad. But then that's the same of all families, right? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.